Can spirituality and the so-called traditional get shit done level of ambition coexist? Yes, they can. If you've enjoyed this video, please do let me know. Add a comment below, hit that like button, that subscription button. Obviously I'm joking, but spoiler alert, they can exist. And not only can they exist, I believe that they should exist for the most happy, fulfilling and fruitful, successful life because they work very well together. I had intended on doing this video wearing this little jacket, but I'm now realizing that my body temperature is going through the roof. So it's coming off. So I have always known in my heart, I believe, in my soul potentially, that I was an ambitious person. There's a couple of occasions that spring to mind where me and a few friends would be chatting and we'd be talking about, I guess, material success, and I'd pipe up and be like, I'm going to be the most successful, and others were like, shut up, like, fine, you're not an idiot, but there are certainly smarter people in the room. But I guess the fact that I had this opinion of myself and speaks volumes for the person that I am today. But yeah, I think at the time I said that stuff, but whether I actually believed it, I'm not really sure. I think maybe it was definitely an ego thing. Anyway, besides the point, I've always been ambitious and I've always longed for a life that is better than average, we'll say, because the average person doesn't really do much with their lives. I'm sure I sound like right now, but that's just the reality of how I feel. I think it's all well and good having this ambition, but I didn't do anything about it until earlier this year, 2022, when I actually started to take action and truly started to, I guess, believe in myself. I think that was down to maybe some level of ego entitlement. I thought that someone was coming to save me. I thought the baby Jesus would turn up at my door and return the frankincense, the myrrh, and the gold to its rightful owner. I thought that was going to happen. It didn't. It turns out, surprise, surprise, you can't rely on the baby Jesus. And so I turned to the Buddha, thinking that perhaps he could help. And yeah, I think he could. I think that what's interesting, and I guess my motivation for making this video, is that when I first started talking about the content that I was consuming, so the Buddhist teachings and I guess like just spirituality literature in general, this sort of directly coincided with the time that I felt I could confidently speak to others about my bigger goals, my bigger dreams, confidently being the operative word. Similarly, it was the first time I could speak about, I guess, a life of luxury, a life of living lavishly that I someday want to do. I do someday want to live. I don't want to live in a 5-bed rented house in South London for the rest of my life. Yeah, I want to see the world and I want to live as well as I possibly can. So yeah, first started talking about Buddhism and obviously things that go along with Buddhism. So this idea of minimalism and the idea that one doesn't necessarily need material gain and I guess pleasures along the way, and also started talking about a life of pleasures at the same time. An oxymoron that many of my friends did pick up on and were sort of quizzing me about. You know, they would say things like, isn't minimalism and a lack of consumption central to the belief and the teachings of the Buddha and Buddhism? I saw he was the sort of guy who would rather spend 4 hours a day meditating and being peaceful within himself rather than chasing that bread. And so all of this got me thinking, am I a fraud? Am I a sellout? Or am I something even worse? But I've come to the conclusion that I am none of these things. And here's why. I think the reason that both my spirituality and also my ambition came to the surface at the same time wasn't a coincidence. It was precisely because I was practicing my spirituality, because I was starting to better understand myself, that I was also better able to understand the sort of impact that I want to have on the world, the sort of footprint that I want to leave behind me. I believe that many people really struggle to see this relationship between spirituality and ambition because of the rise in the Western world of hustle culture. The likes of people such as Gary Vee or Gary Vaynerchuk have become very popular in recent decades because he's very inspiring, he can be very motivational, and he's certainly got a very unique mind, a very unique attitude to business. However, it feels as though sometimes he is literally just advocating for people to spend their whole lives essentially just working themselves into the ground. It's very similar to this sort of new message that's come out of the likes of Andrew Tate's mouth. I'm not going to go into Andrew Tate because his message, his underlying message of masculinity and working hard, I might agree with some of the facets. However, there's obviously tons of other things that he has said that I want no part of. I don't believe he should have been cancelled unless he was inciting violence towards women. I couldn't find any evidence of that. However, what I have found is evidence of a scumbag and someone that is essentially just ripping off incels and slightly younger, more impressionable men. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like me to make a video on Andrew Tate, because I think I've got quite a lot to say about him. Anyway, back to Gary Vee, who's less an arsehole. There are things that he says and he believes in that I am hopefully going to try and dismantle right now. So yeah, sometimes Gary talks about living this life of just work, 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 and even giving up things on the weekend that are distracting you from your higher purpose, such as sports, for example. He started watching American football, and the only reason he did that is because there's very few games. It only takes an hour or two out of his Sunday. In a way, it's very admirable, and I get it, and he's obviously hugely successful, but I don't think it's something that I sort of 100% can get behind. But Big G, Gary Vee does advocate for meditation. I've seen him speak about meditation. So I assumed this would be the case. When I started making this video and started talking about Gary Vee, obviously I was just scribbling stuff down. So I did a little bit of research into this, and I found exactly what I expected to find, which was very handy when scripting this particular video. So Gary Vee has spoken about meditation at length in a few clips, a few videos, and also in a few written articles and stuff. And yeah, as I say, I found exactly what I was expecting to find. That is a deeply sort of westernized version of meditation that isn't necessarily really meditation, in which he speaks of, unlocking oneself and bettering oneself against others. And this isn't meditation. This is, you can calm the mind and unlock this state of flow, essentially. But meditation with an end goal in mind, with the idea of bettering yourself, of giving yourself a competitive edge in the workplace, is not meditation. I think I consider myself highly competitive, and that goes back to childhood and probably more to sports than anything else. And I think that's why I do find value in his work and his content. But as I say, what he's speaking about here is not meditation in the Eastern sense of the word anyway. I think this is a problem with westernized meditation and westernized spirituality that we need to get a handle on, we need to get a grips on, because it runs the risk of becoming just highly consumerized, and there is more to life than capitalism. Don't get me wrong, one can experience highly profound feelings and can undoubtedly improve their professional working lives through the medium of meditation, but this can't and shouldn't be the reason for practice. We weren't put on this earth at the same time as capitalism, and therefore, whether you believe in a god or spirituality or whatever, it should be obvious to you that we were not made to suck the big fat dick that is capitalism. That's obvious to me. That should be obvious to you, in that capitalism is, in the grand scheme of things, a relatively recent phenomenon. Connecting to, for example, nature can have such a more powerful, healing, satisfying, it can give you such a greater human experience than can feeding your ego by making lots of money, by working really hard.
Oh, nature, that was amazing. My husband, capitalism, has never given me such an intense orgasm before in our whole marriage.
When we dismantle the ego and stop trying to win, as Gary would say, the game, which, by the way, he also describes meditation as the game, which implies an end goal. Meditation is mental stillness for the sake of mental stillness, whereas Gary is suggesting that we exploit mental stillness for a competitive edge. And yeah, just by going into meditation with this attitude, you are setting yourself up for failure. But Big G, you also at the top of this video suggested that to live spiritually and also to live ambitiously together is a coexisting. Both of these things can coexist, is what you suggested. Big G. And yes, they can. I stand by my point, despite what I've just said about Gary Vee. Everyone's different, but for me, I experience satisfaction in life through completing things, but I also experience satisfaction in life through not completing things. Ooh, what do you mean by this? I meditate because since I have started meditating, I have had greater life satisfaction, greater life fulfillment, a deeper sense of self, a deeper happiness, more of an understanding of who I am, what I want, and yeah, also just less of a monkey mind on my back telling me negative things. And I'm also able to better understand other people around me, I think. So yeah, that's why I meditate. And yes, it has aided my productivity and my focus. But all of the other reasons that I just mentioned are inextricably separate from these two facts. And all of the other reasons add far more to my life than material success ever could or might be able to in the future. Mental stillness and peace and happiness and satisfaction is what we should be aiming for. Material affluence can only be a byproduct and not an end goal. Otherwise, it's not real meditation, bro. If you have liked this video, please do let me know. Add a comment below. I've come off Instagram. I decided to delete Instagram. So if you do have anything that you want to get in touch with me about, please do add a comment below. I'm still on Twitter, but no one really ever accesses me through my Twitter anyway. So yeah, if you've got anything out of this video, please add a comment, hit that like button, hit that subscription button, hit that bell notification. I'm currently making a 30-day video, which will be coming to you in 30 days, maybe, slightly less, slightly more. We'll see. Also going to keep doing these little drop-in videos when I can. But yeah, please do support the channel. It goes a long way. It makes me really happy because I care about material success and what others think of me. No, I'll be happy either way. Okay, lots of love. Catch you all on the flip side. Namaste. Mwah.